Alright then. What you see here is a small sample of parts that I've finished painting. The second tone color, which is the off-white, the Mr. Color, Gundam Color, MS White, in combination of number 20 light blue from Mr. Hobby. I spent a lot of time putting on these masking tapes to see the overall results, and unfortunately it took a lot longer than I realized because certain things were happening. But once, after you saw this previous video of me painting it, and now it's dry, I'm going to remove these and see how it came out. So we're going to begin with this part here. This is a lot of masking tape. That came out okay, but like right here in the leading edge is a little line there. I could probably get away with that with a little, with a panel lining, so that shouldn't be a bit of an issue. So that's good. This part here is, let's see how this came out. This is the one that goes behind that. Yep, that's good. That came out okay. So we got these little hands here. Okay, that's good. This was the one that gave me a lot of trouble. Because I had to not only put the masking there, but I had to cut the spacing for the little trim parts here, and then this trim part here. So I don't know how this came out. It may came out great. It may have came out terrible. Let's find out. Well, that came out okay. What about you? I didn't do the other side. I'm gonna explain that in a minute. Just give me a moment. Alright, that part came out okay. Now, even though this is good on this side, I didn't do the other side because these little parts here are so small for me to cut and remove and put a masking tape on. It would have it was very tedious for me to do it. Every time I try to cut it, the tape moved and shift. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to do some hand painting. I have a very thin brush. I'm going to see if I can paint these little guys here, if possible. So I'm going to try that. This is this part here. This is for the forearm. It's good. Came out okay. Alright, so let's actually merge these guys together. These are the bigger dragoons. So let's see how this came out. That's a lot of masking tape. Alright, so that trim part came out okay. And then this one tied in with this one down here. knew I was going to make some mistake, because usually when I... Let me see here. Yeah. I knew that was going to be a mistake. Darn it. This one should have been a little bit lower and... well... No use is crying over spilled milk. Let's see how it looks like with this one. This one's the tedious one. Trying to get every little spacing covered and uncovered. Surprisingly. This looks good, but what's that? Did I scrape something? Ugh, God damn it, I hate that. So if this one goes here, it looks like that. And to top it all off, I decided to paint the nozzle here. So it looks like that. Alright, that actually came out okay, but closer inspection it didn't look right. Clearly once I put on the inner parts of the Dragoon, it'll show a little bit more. Let's look at the shoulder. Yeah, the shoulder was easy to figure out because of this design feature here. This part. And okay, good. That came out alright. Excellent. Good, good, good. And we have this thruster part, or section that goes behind the backpack. And they only decided to do this area. The leg. Let's check the leg. This is the one that was a bit cringing as well. With the amount of detail this kit has in every part, you get me thinking about painting like this. I was like, this is going to be a pain in the ass. I don't think I'm going to do this. But then you got to say to yourself, you got to commit to this. If you said it, do it. I could have said no, just left at the light blue, but that light blue would have not clashed with anything. It would have been a little too lighty for me. And yes, it will be panel lined, but then something like this brings it out a little bit further. I don't know if there we go. Let's look at let's peel the last part here. This is going to be alright, so let's just do all this. This one I was trying to figure out what to do, and I was going to paint that white, but then after realizing how it looks overall, I decided not against that. Of course, this comes around, unpeeling the back part. Alright. Alright. Come on, get out. I am generally pleased with how this came out. Look at that. That is all. That is nice. Very nice. Alright, I like that. Let me continue on, because there's a lot of this that I gotta collect. And let's do an overall review of these parts. Okay. Alright. Look at this. This nice big wad of tape shit. That's a lot of tape. A lot of cutting, shaping, prepping. But after a long, tedious time, I'm finally able to show off the fruits of my labor. And granted, it looks okay. It looks pretty good. I definitely made some minute mistakes in regards to those dragoons there, and some here, which I've separated so you guys can see. It can be overall covered with a little bit of panel lining. But other than that, it came out alright. I was happy how it turned out. The Providence has a lot of detail in this, a lot of little, minute detail. And to show it off in a two-tone color can be a little bit daunting. But also, I was trying to avoid, how can I say this, putting too much into it. For example, like here on the arm, originally I was going to do, half of it the light blue, half of it the white. But then I said to myself, you know what, just this and this is all that's required. The sides probably don't need it. Yeah, some would argue maybe this section here, because if you look at the trim, it's like a circle-like structure, and then you have the armor over it, so the inside could be painted the other tone color. Whoops. But I chose not to do that. For this, like the forearm, only the side parts that I painted. Yikes. This section here was painted, but I didn't do like the front part here there, because I didn't think of it. Didn't think of it at that moment. Skirt armor, just this part. Didn't feel like doing the bottom part or this section here, because it's not separated by any panel lining. The most obvious, of course, is this part of the leg, where I was actually considering the upper part, but then for this white part and that part to be all white didn't clash well. So the middle part was pretty much okay in my book. What's a good example? Oh, of course, the shoulder armor, like I said here. For me to actually do white, 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 and then the rest, maybe that would be a little too much. So putting it in the middle was subtle enough for that. I was originally thinking maybe also do it here at the end, at the tips, but I chose not to. And I've already discussed about the backpack. The backpack is pretty much it came out really good how it came out. I was going to paint these white and this white, but it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right how it would come out. I chose not to do that, and now I'm gonna panel line everything, of course, as you can see there. The one thing that I kind of went overboard was those dragoons. The dragoons took a lot out of me, and there's a lot of minute details in there that would benefit from it, benefit from me panel lining it and all that stuff. But again, I didn't want to oversaturate it with two-tone. I thought this was subtle enough for what it's worth. It's a shame that the remaining parts, like the blue and the red, doesn't have unique detail where you can give it a two-tone color, maybe a two-tone blue or a two-tone red. So we left it at that for now. And oh, I did paint this one, as you see, the red. I masked it and painted it off, so that came out okay. But yeah, this came out great. But it'll be even better once I put it all together. So let's begin putting together the Master Grade Providence Gundam and see how it looks.